Hello friends, it's Techman Pat here. Welcome back, or just welcome to another news update for this week. Hope you all have been absolutely well or fantastic. Let's get straight into it. We have a lot to cover, from complaints, competitors, problems, the 5G network, fiber, and digital IDs. It has been an interesting week so far. I know the internet is a frustrating thing at times. It's also the greatest invention of our time. It's really hard to imagine a world without it. Now, when you have something so important and so varied in its performance, reliability, and access, tensions can rise. We have seen how upset people get with performance, then it stacks with access. Here in Australia, we have so many different types of connections. Each type has become a hierarchical class. That's not to say hierarchy is bad, it just is. But what we have now is a segregation of people with very different experiences of the internet, and many are not happy. But to note, there are many that are happy. The reality is that not everyone has issues with their internet. So it is no surprise that complaints about the internet, aka NBN, have surpassed complaints about mobile services. Two things I want to note about this. It seems that we are now so dependent, well, more so dependent on our home and business internet than mobile services, and that in itself says a lot. It seems that we need a reliable and fast home or work internet connection because we just can't do everything on our mobiles. Maybe Apple and Samsung would have you believe otherwise, but now obviously I mean mobile phones and the mobile phone services itself, not the mobile broadband. So let me know in the comments below, could you survive using only your mobile phone and the internet service that it provides? Secondly, it makes me believe that mobile services are well entrenched in our lives, and many have become accustomed to how it works and how it is used, and the problems that come with it. You kind of just know that you just turn your phone on and off when you can't get a good signal. And the industry itself has progressed far enough that the service is pretty good on the most part. Though as 40,000 complaints this year still state, it's not 100% perfect. So back to the internet. The Telecommunication Industry Ombudsman released their annual report where between 2018 and 2019, 132,000 complaints were made to the TIO. Within those, poor internet was shown to be the biggest source of frustrations for consumers, accounting for about 33% of all total complaints, or around 43,000 of that 132,000. Mobile was the next complaint about service, accounting for about 30% of all complaints received by the TIO. Also to note, residential consumers made the majority of complaints this calendar term, so businesses didn't seem to complain. I wonder why. I will expect the numbers to rise significantly in the next few years as the NBN finishes its rollout and people have to connect. In fact, I expect these numbers to stay like this for a long time. Just have a look how mobile phones have destroyed landline connections. Though a contributor has been NBN, think about it this way. You get the NBN and then they question you if you want to get a landline number. And unless you are a business, you think, when's the last time I got a call on my landline? Well, probably was a scammer at that time, and probably nobody else calls me on there. They just call my mobile. So why bother with that service? You might as well drop it and continue to use your mobile. Actually, let me know below in the comments if you've made a complaint to the TIO. I'd love to know your story and if they went and got it sorted for you. And another question, I know this is a bit of a double whammy, but I want to know if you still have your landline and why, only if you're not running a business. Now, despite being the dominant modes of communication in 2019, neither the internet nor mobile are classed as essential services, which means consumers lack vital protections. Also, while I have your attention here, remember to tap that like button if you want to see more news updates like this one, and if you want to see more Aussie tech content, then consider subscribing to support this channel. Now, that's the only ad we're going to have in this segment. Let's move on to the NBN related news, more specifically the NBN. This week, Communication Minister Paul Fletcher has come out and said that NBN Co will need some competition. to make it better. And I really agree. If a business has competition, they have to fight harder for their customers. They have to make sure that they are happy because they have, well, the consumers have alternatives to go to and they don't have to stay with you. And the cost of getting a new customer is a lot more than keeping a customer. So if the NBN was competing with mobile services, maybe, and the service was pretty much the same as NBN Co's service offerings, well, we'd have a bit of a game for sure. Now, in that case, if there was another version of NBN, a infrastructure internet provider that was using cables, imagine that, but I have my doubts on that happening. Now, Fletcher was speaking at a Committee for Economic Development of Australia, CEDA, conference in Canberra last week. He said that relying on NBN Co alone to deliver fixed line improvements over the next decade may not guarantee Australia's future. From a business standpoint, he is correct. I would like to also add, however, that if someone took control, and this is just a bit of imagination here, if they took control of NBN Co and made its mission to make sure Australia doesn't get left behind, no matter the cost, I think it would be okay. What do you guys think? Have you guys got any ideas? I think less politics, more action. Now, Fletcher went on to say that the prospect of reintroducing infrastructure-based competition to Australia's fixed line market would be ideal and make NBN Co feel a little bit scared. But I don't know, I don't think it's a good idea. I think we should make the NBN better and not try and make more NBNs. It'd just be a bigger problem. At least there's one entity to control everything, and that entity should be controlled by its consumers, not by the government or some politicians who don't know anything about the internet. He said we need to rely on competition to push each other forward. I think that's fair, but we need some regulation around the idea of competition, mainly around net neutrality and the things I mentioned before. To note, the event also brought up one positive outcome. Australia is leading the way in the 5G rollout, if you didn't know that. And this is a great segue onto our next story. A small note about Optus. They are releasing a whole bunch of 5G devices. Now, enticing people to buy these devices, they're also giving you extra accessories and data deals. Now, they're also even including a free Galaxy Watch. Now, if that's something that you're interested in, well, there you go. Remember, Apple doesn't have a 5G device just yet. I want to put this to you folks. Is 5G speeds on your mobile phone going to change anything for you? I guess you could tether to your phone and share that speed around at your home if you've got the signal for 5G. But let me know in the comments below, is it gonna change your life if it's 3 times, 4 times faster than 4G? Now, fiber is still our saving grace, and while I have noted many commentators in these videos, they have said they are happy with their fiber to the node connection. Now, I have some bad news for you that will come up maybe in the future. You see, all our internet connections run to this node. These nodes have a capacity, and as NBN Co rolls out to more homes, these nodes are starting to become more and more congested. Not really is it a problem now, but imagine having all this congestion in the future when everybody's connected, and because fiber to the node is the most popular, what's going to happen? What are you going to do? What can you do? Do you upgrade the node and add more hardware? Well, would it even be worthwhile? Because the hardware you have in that node is copper, and you need to install it, and it's already old technology. And all you're going to do is help to manage this copper that already exists. Is there even a point? Does the cost make sense? In the last decade, fiber prices have dramatically fallen, including the hardware costs for it. Now, cost for copper is around 10 to 15% cheaper, and every year that gap is getting smaller. Now, the only other cost with fiber is installation and civil works. Now, that apparently is also going to cost pretty much the same, because fiber doesn't need the amount of shielding to protect it from noise as copper does, so that's a big cost that doesn't need to be included. So in the next few years, we could see a dramatic fall in performance for the fiber to the node customers as more and more people connect. This, however, won't affect fiber to the curb connections, as the fiber is much closer to the home with less connections per mini node. You see, you're inherently sharing the bandwidth amongst all the properties using it, rather than fiber to the premises where you get it all to yourself. Look, in the next few months, we all know more about this, and while NBN Co says that when they turn off coexistence, users on Fiber to Node will see an improvement. I have my doubts. I would imagine nobody's going to see any improvement and it just won't get worse. But I will let you guys know if I see it. I'm still noting that my connection is on coexistence, but as soon as it's off, I'm going to let you guys know if anything changes. So last few topics of note. If you remember, a few months ago we talked about Wombourne near Canberra receiving a $5 million earmarked funding to connect the township to a fiber backbone on their own fiber network. Now, they're doing all this due to the fact there are no plans to upgrade the decade-old satellite internet systems in the next 5 to 6 years. So, well, politics have managed to halt this project again, and at this stage it's been delayed by almost 2 years with no real start date. A very unfortunate roadblock for that small town. Now, I'll be sure to report more as things progress. It'll be interesting to see how a township manages to roll out its own fiber, and so far, it's kind of looking like the same as NBN's problems. Now, let's move on. Finally, Ozpost is rolling out a digital ID app, and at the same time as the ATO is doing the same. A very interesting time to live in when many of the things we've been doing day to day on paper, cards, IDs are going digital. And I'm going to be checking it out and we'll see what happens. I want to give you guys some feedback. Now, Ozpost promises that you will be able to enter details of your identity documents, then choose to send your verified details to the organizations you're dealing with, obviously if they support it, saving you a whole bunch of time. No need to reach for your identity documents next time you're asked for it to verify yourself online. Just choose the digital ID option when logging in and apply your complete digital ID and you're done. Now that's a big promise, so we'll see how it works. I guess that answers my question from last week. I don't need to scan my phone when signing up to a mobile service in store. Friends, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this week's update. I'll catch you all next time, and in the meantime, check out some of the gadgets that we review on this channel. We've had an Asus gaming laptop, and we'll have another Asus laptop that's not gaming. And before I go, I wanted to share with you that I'll be covering Asus's 30th anniversary event in Sydney. So stay tuned for a few videos on that around the 9th or 10th of October, depending when I can edit and upload them. I might not do much edits on that, but you'll see me at the event if you're there. And if you enjoyed the content, remember to like and subscribe. So thanks for watching. Bye.